Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran and I like to help people using a spiritual perspective. So today I wanted to talk about 5 easy, practical ways to remove negative energy and just raise your vibration, raise your energy levels, okay? Vibration is best described, in my opinion, as just energy, because everything is, of course, energy. So if you, right, the more that you sort of raise your energy levels, you raise your vibration, and you just have more energy and an ability to do more, to get more things done, to feel better about yourself and feel better about the world and life itself. Okay, so again, these are going to be 5 very, very easy ways, I think are very easy, that will enable you to just raise your vibration and feel better about yourself and on this planet during this time. Okay, so number 1, okay, is going to be get off social media. Okay, now you might think that's not so easy, but if I can do it, you can do it. Okay, now that being said, social media can be it's not inherently bad. Nothing, I don't think, is inherently bad. It really comes down to a circumstance and an intention behind it. Now that being said, there's also people out there who are going to have businesses like me, or who have creative pursuits like me, who these endeavors that they wish to pursue, and social media is often a sort of avenue to do that. Unfortunately, at a lot of times it's very hard to get recognized without having some sort of presence somewhere, right? So this isn't a message for you to remove yourself from life or from everybody, but social media is it can be used as such an escape from reality, and it sort of really, it can get you without you really noticing. Okay, now, how many times have you just opened up Facebook and just scrolled through it and just to check on whatever the hell's going on? Jessica bought a new cat, Brian has a 6-pack, oh my god, who gives a shit? And then there's Instagram, and it's just photos of people's food, and it's like, what are you doing? And it can really drain your energy, because what people fail to remember about social media is it forces you to stay in connections with people that you otherwise wouldn't be energetically in. You wouldn't have that connection anymore, right? This is like those friends that you still have from high school that have nothing to do with you, that you don't talk to them at all, and yet they're still on your Facebook. And what we also forget is that because this is all energy, the people on that you're posting your pictures to on Facebook, for instance, maybe you are just innocently sharing pictures of your cat, right? Who doesn't like a good cat photo? But all these people could be very jealous of you, could be very could not like anything that you're posting, right? But you wouldn't know that because they're just there zapping your energy away. Now, it isn't to say that these are really going to affect you too much, especially if you are just doing your best every single day. But largely speaking, social media and things like Facebook and Reddit and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok, right? All of these things really take us away from the present moment and really have us too involved with things that don't concern us. And it becomes very easy to just go and scroll through Instagram or Facebook or spend hours on YouTube and completely forget where you're at. Completely forget that there's an entire existence that you chose to experience, and you're instead doing something else completely off from that, completely on a different fucking reality. Really, it's a whole different dimension that you're getting into there, and can be such a negative influence, and it's so easy for it to be. Now, again, I don't think that Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or anything is inherently wrong. Especially since it's such a good way of getting the people out there, whether it's their artwork, music, whatever it may be. But it can really, it's to such an alarming degree, take you away from a high place of being to a lower place, because you're involved with people that you wouldn't be involved with. You don't know what kind of energy that's bringing into your life. You are looking at things that don't concern you, that have nothing to do with you, really, and it's just a waste of time. It really is a waste of time. Again, going on Facebook used to be like, for me, checking the fridge late at night. It was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, it's still the same glass of chocolate milk and, celery and 3-year-old fucking peanut butter, right? It's just a shitty That's not my actual fridge, by the way. That would be really sad, except for the chocolate milk part. But that is kind of like that element of, that's what it felt like, that energy of just checking over and over again for no reason. And it is just the easiest way to just delete Facebook, to delete Instagram. I mean, it's like, if you can, right? At least for the personal use, because you get off social media, and which is what I did. I got off like Facebook, right? I was always like going back and forth. I delete it, deactivate it, go back, and then finally I just had this clean cut because someone said to me what I'm saying to you right now, which is about forcing you to stay in connections with people that you wouldn't choose to be. A great example of this is just the other day I had this friend who used to be my friend, and he wasn't ever really my friend back when I was 18, 26 now. And I've talked to him here and there. I've even seen him since I've moved away from that state, but he's nowhere near the level of vibration that I'm at. He's not spiritual, and he's not someone that I would, at this point in my life, choose to associate with. And so the other day he messaged me, and he hit me, just started talking to me, and I don't, and he just asked me what was going on. And and then as soon as I told him something good about my life, suddenly he stopped replying. And I immediately knew. I was like, wow, so you say something good about what's going on in your life, and people really aren't that interested anymore. And a lot of people really just don't really care about how good you're doing. They'd really just like to know if you're doing as shitty as them. And that is unfortunately what can really predominantly happen on Facebook and Instagram and all sorts of stuff. I mean, even on YouTube, getting into an argument with a stranger on YouTube is hardly going to solve anybody's problems. So how much time are you really wasting on a platform like that, right? So social media is just the easiest way. Again, since I removed Facebook, it has been like a load off of my chest. I feel so much more free, energetic, and just, there's less chatter in my brain. And this sort of goes to the second point I'm going to make, which is stop watching the news. Okay, another great way of raising your vibration instantly, right? These things don't cost any money. You just have to stop doing it. And the news is a way of controlling fear. It's a way of putting and creating fear into society, something that has become so obvious and relevant for the past 4 or 5 months. Okay, and it's always been there, but now people are really starting to wake up to this, to the knowledge, the understanding that the media is just fear-mongering bullshit, more or less. And it's created such a divide within countries like America, and I'm sure in other places as well, that number one, nothing is being covered that is good. It's always terrible, and that might not be interesting, but it paints a bleak, fear-based society. It makes it seem like everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and that everybody is generally just a piece of shit. And no matter what's happening, it's always just dangerous and chaotic and confusing. And they will sit there with a pretty smile and some nice hair and tell you that in a very calm voice, but with concerns of fear underlying it very deeply. And it just leaves you in a state of, what the hell am I watching this for? And that's the thing. When you're watching news, there's almost nothing you can do about it. And that it's really just, again, just like social media, just constant shit in your brain. And when you remove these two things, because the news is very much associated with social media as well, and vice versa, when you remove those two things, you will find that your intuition, your mental energy will just heighten almost exponentially in like a week's time, because there'll be just no more shit, no more other weird voices coming into your head. And you'll just be free to think, allow your own thoughts to come in. Deeper, more intuitive, wise ones. And I used to think that I had to watch the news to be informed, to be wise, to be knowledgeable. But I don't involve myself with trivial things, which I consider politics. I consider lots of things like that, because there's nothing I can do about it, and it's not my interest. Therefore, having a conversation about Donald Trump at dinner with 7 or 8 strangers, regardless of if I think he's an idiot or not, doesn't seem like a great conversation topic to me, because I'm more interested in why people are the way that they are, rather than what they're specifically doing, and how to change what's currently going on, which is at the fundamental truth, the spiritual meaning behind everything that's going on, trying to raise the level of people's vibration at the core, rather than focusing on the earthly sort of perspective of it all. I'm not interested. And so if you're like me, and yet you're still going and watching news, you'll find a sort of dissonance within yourself, because again, it is very, very toxic to your well-being, because it's allowing so many outside sources to essentially tell you information which is not only always, almost always from a place of fear, but almost always bias. So not only are you not getting correct information or objective information, you're also getting information that is fucking there to make you afraid, right? And that's the way it's been. COVID-19 really brought that out into the world for people to see. And the thing is, if you remove news from your life, if you remove social media from your life, you can go into the world and you'll see that actually everything's all right. I used to have this perspective that the world was very black and white, and I probably still do have some of that tendency with emotional issues to this day, if I'm honest with myself. But I used to have a very more ingrained type of view about things, and the news made it seem much more like that. It made me part of the political divide, and I used to think that it was good for me to be, on the left or something like that versus the right, because this is where the logic and the facts are. But I was the same kind of it was the same energy. It was just believing that you're right without wanting to hear anybody else's opinion. And that's what the news can do to you, because it's stopped really becoming about the news, and it's become really about what you should think and how you should act and what you should do with politics and all this other kind of stuff. And you realize, like I did, that removing the news doesn't make you stupid. It doesn't remove you from being knowledgeable. I haven't watched the news in like 8 or 9 months really, and I'm completely okay. I still hear things, I still know, but I don't need to, someone is still going to tell me if there was a mass shooting, but I don't need to watch that. There's nothing I can do. And it's not like the news is telling me about any of the information that isn't happening, right? Such as, I'm sure right now at this time there's a famine in Africa, or a war in the Middle East, or someone being some weird local dictator in Southeast Asia just murdering people. But nobody cares, right? Nobody is covering that, because that doesn't directly affect you in your fear. You aren't afraid of a dictator in Southeast Asia, or a warring tribe in Africa, or a famine, right, in Egypt. It doesn't matter. That's not what you're afraid of. Okay, the news preys on your fears, and that's what it does. Okay, you don't need to be political to see that objective. Okay, so removing the news is a really great way of just freeing yourself up. Okay, thirdly, gossiping. Okay, you're gonna want to stop gossiping. I'm incredibly guilty of doing this in my life, almost as if I was some 14-year-old girl. But I would always have toxic work environments, which really did contribute to that. Such as, I used to work at a lot of pizza places, and everybody at pizza places would gossip. It was just like high school. Who's banging who? Did Johnny do heroin that night? Why the hell did Eric touch your bum? Whatever the hell is going on. There's so many just weird gossip, and it's just chatter. Again, more endless, mindless chatter. And if you participate in gossip, then you're lowering your own vibration, because you're, again, just putting nonsense out into the world, right? Your words matter. They matters what you say, but even more than what you say mattering, it matters what your intention is. Okay, there's a difference between saying, I suck as a joke after you drop something, right? Whatever, no big deal. And then there's a difference between fundamentally saying, I'm a piece of shit, or I suck, and really feeling that heavy energy, right? Words matter. So gossip is never really this good intention, and it's not to say you can't be open with how you feel. But gossip is, of course, talking behind someone else's back, right? And it just allows, it can get really, really, the line between like expressing your concerns to someone and just openly, blatantly talking shit on them behind their back is very, very thin. And so gossip can just lead you down this really kind of slippery slope, and it all the time will just lower your vibration. It is one of the easiest ways to just stop doing it. So the next time someone comes up to you and wants to talk about Jessica's abortion last Christmas, just make a nice comment. Just, oh, okay. And then that's it. That's all it takes. And people will actually notice that. One of the people that I've respected the most in life did not gossip, even when I was. Because if I said something that was gossipy, they would just go, oh, or they would nod their head. And I look back at that now, at this point in my life, and I realize that they were very strong characters, because it can be very easy to gossip. Okay, and actually, scientifically, I think there's some kind of pleasure center that gossip hits, and that it's the same level of eating chocolate, so which should tell you how good gossiping does feel. Okay. Number 4 is you're going to want to drink plenty of water. Okay. I have a glass of water right here. I didn't bring it as a prop. I brought it because I talk way too much. But water is a great way of raising your vibration. Now, there is no inherent factual scientific evidence to suggest you need like 8 or 9 cups a day, 8 glasses, whatever it is. That's like a myth. But water is a cleansing element. Okay, metaphorically, it's always been associated with emotions, but spiritually, it is a cleanser. It cleanses you. Your body is like 80 to 90% water, right? So it's something that's a vital ingredient of who you are and something that you need to literally survive. So yesterday I didn't drink much water, okay? And regardless of what I was doing, I didn't have a lot of energy. Today, this is, I believe, of this glass, this is probably my 5th or 6th. And again, I'm not going by how much I think I should drink. I'm just going by really just this feeling, all right? And being hydrated, essentially, is what you want to be doing here. So drink water, right? And my energy today is so much higher. I feel so much better, okay? And not only that, water has many medical positives to it, such as your eye care, skin care, things like that, right? And it can very much help you. I think even your breath, things like that. So it has multiple positive attributes. So drinking lots of water will actually raise your vibration instantaneously. And doing that just in the difference, like I said, in a day makes all the difference. Yesterday I had like 2 cups of water and a lot of juice, and today I've just been drinking nothing but water, no juice, lots of energy. But I fucking love juice. Okay, guys, so number 5, surround yourself with nature. Right now, this might be a little bit harder, but I don't think it will be, because I think 80-85% of you can find some nature. I live in Toronto currently, right? And here, concrete jungle, big city, there's still parks, like parks that are so big that are basically like little nature reserves that make you think you're no longer in the city, but they're right in the city. The only reminder that you're still in a city is the occasional train or maybe a horn in the far off distance. But if you go deep enough, you're really just hearing animals, birds, and things like that. So in nature, anything green, really, if you surround yourself in nature, you raise your vibration instantly, okay? You can vibrate with this planet in such a way that you don't have to do anything except sit in nature. Just sit where go to a park and sit there. Sit underneath a tree. Go for a walk in the woods. If you live in sort of an arid climate, go do whatever the hell you do in the desert. I lived in California for 7 years or some amount of time, and they didn't have the most green, but they had lots of trails, okay, and that was still nature. So there is lots of opportunities for you. I think 80-85% of you, where you can go into nature, go to the beach, go near some water, just be there, because it does absolutely raise your vibration, and you just need to spend like 30 minutes there, just taking it in and existing alongside of it, because it's made up of the same energy as you, and it's pure and it's innocent. And this is why nature is such a good remedy for whatever you're experiencing in life, and to raise your vibration, because nature fundamentally doesn't have an opinion about you. Nature is chaos. It's free. It is elemental. It's pure. It doesn't have any opinion about you. Any mask that you wear in society, you can drop in nature, because it's free. You don't need to pretend to be anybody in nature. You can just exist. You can be sad. You can be happy. More than likely, you could be peaceful. And that is why nature is such a beautiful thing, because I don't think the purpose of being awakened, nor the purpose of life, is to be happy all the time. I don't think that life is perfect. I don't think it's meant to be perfect. If it was, then there wouldn't be as much shit as there was. But life should, or you should, experience as much peace as you can. Life should be some balance. Life should be balanced, okay? And nature is a really good way of balancing that out and raising your vibration. Okay, so again, getting off social media, stop watching the news, stop gossiping, drinking plenty of water, and getting out into nature. 5 cheap ways. Okay, very, very cheap. You don't have to go get some expensive coach. You don't have to pay money for some service. You don't have to do X, Y, and Z. You just have to do these things or stop doing some things. And I promise you, your vibration will raise. Especially, if you do this all at once, within a couple of weeks, you'll notice you feel much more better. Nature is a great way of making you feel physically better, along with the water, in which you will emotionally feel better and spiritually. Okay, stop gossiping is really going to make you feel emotionally better, definitely more mentally. And the first two, social media and the news thing, that will just will cleanse your mental body and your emotions like completely. Okay, so all of these have some emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical benefits to them. Okay, and they've worked in my life, and I struggled so much in my life with so many different things, and still do to an extent. But removing these things cleared up a lot more energy to actually solve the problems that I had going on in my life at the time, and to move forward, to attract new things into my life. Okay? Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. There was probably some little weird blip at the beginning of the video. Sorry about that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really love all your guys' support. And I will talk to you guys the next time I do a video. Alright guys, thanks so much. See you another day.